bars got that swing. Glasses clink, hear the ice cubes sing. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie. Chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh, we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Va salute and welcome. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. I hope everyone is doing well today. Looking forward to this one. I've been planning this one for a while now. I mentioned this topic last month, and I said, no, it's definitely not cold enough. Definitely not cold enough. Well, it absolutely is now. I don't know about it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, but it certainly is beginning to feel a lot like it. Let me say hi to all of you that are here, starting with the love of my life. I hope you're doing well, sweetie. Just brought her a drink, too. She says, like, share, subscribe, become a member, leave a comment. Gift a membership if you are feeling so inclined and generous. Yes, I'm hoping for a Christmas miracle, or at least meeting my goal by the end of the year, which is 100 members and 2,000 subscribers. Definitely need to see that happen because it really is crucial to keeping the lights on, quite literally. I see the prices of, I don't think people realize how much expense goes into running a quasi-semi-professional looking daily show. There actually is a good deal of cost involved. So please, anything you could do would certainly be greatly appreciated, and it's a value to you too, because for as little as $2 a month, you can become a member and help, do all the things I just said, but also memberships have its perks. I have a weekly Monday night members night at the movie, where you choose the movie that you want to watch. And we watch it together on Monday. Thinking that this Monday we're going to move the time out slightly to 9 Central rather than 8 Central. A couple of people have said that would allow them to be able to attend. And again, I'm going to schedule it around the members because it is their stream. Big Al says, hello, Liquid Lunchers. Hope everyone is ready for the weekend. I'm always ready for the weekend. Have a great show, Troy. Looking forward to the chat on mulled wine. Great Clarence quote. Yeah, you saw that in the thumbnail. Yeah, I've been sitting on that one for a while. Been looking forward to it. Merpaw. This mulled wine has long served as blood wine at Mary CAG KCC sponsored room parties over the years. Great stuff. I always drink that in my Klingon blood wine mug. And I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but yep, yes it does. I have my Klingon mug too. Fun fact, he goes on, Klingon tableware, like a blood wine mug, are metal, durable, and can be used as weapons. Hence the phrase Gowron use, Rech nuch me tutlu. There are always weapons. Hail, Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube and Fluff Chick Productions. Good to see you. Jay and or Leanne, I hope you are doing well. I am so proud to be here. Is the Leanne of Jay and Leanne home now? Last night, I think you were saying today would be the day. Hope everything is going well on your side. Jonathon Conroy says, hail all, smash the like button and enjoy the show. Yes, please do those things. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Had to watch the new Sabaton before I came in. The die has been cast. Hail Kaiser. Yes, exactly. I almost pronounced it with the American malapropism. Yes, it is lunchtime. Tired Midnight blogger Curtis Selby. Good to see you, my friend. Sentai Ranger Donnie says, hello, Troy and all. Hope everyone is well, despite Maurice Dubois leaving CBS after 21 years and Netflix winning the Warner Brothers Discovery bid. That's one half of what he had wanted to say. I'm assuming there's more coming. New Camp Rock 3 teaser trailer debuted last morning. I'm as hyped about the movie itself as I am about the new Power Rangers reboot show. There you go. Yeah, so a lot of people are talking about the Netflix deal. Just keep in mind, even the blokes over at Midnight's Edge were talking as though it's already a done deal. But they keep forgetting that all of the news coverage keeps saying pending, legal approval. The Federal Trade Commission still has to sign off on this, and it is very unlikely that they will. This may not happen, and it's entirely possible that Paramount's going to be sitting there going, yeah, so my deal's not looking so bad now, is it? We'll see. But this is a worst case scenario. This would be the next step to, now they're going to start looking at the legal system to allow it. And if that happens, look, I don't mean to sound doom and gloom, but if this merger happens, you can say goodbye to cinemas in the next 5 years. They will be all but gone. You might have the occasional mom and pop type shop that doesn't really make any money. It's just somebody's dream of owning a movie theater, and they'll show old reels of, whatever, barely making a profit in their retirement. And that'll be out in the boondocks in like Metropolis, Illinois or something like that. That's about all there will be. You will not have your local cinema anymore. And it also could be the death knell of physical media, unless you're making it for yourself, which I strongly encourage you to do. Under fair use, you have a legal right to do it. A late thankful Thursday, thankful that finally The Legend of Boggy Creek is getting a soundtrack release. Bigfoot goodness. Well, I'm happy for you. I am happy for you. And one of my Team Freedom Bells partners just sent us a 2026 pinup calendar. Nice. That's marketing material. You kind of got my attention. You get a lot of people's attention by just putting out adverts for it on the social medias. Jay here, she's still in the hospital waiting for the doctors to do rounds. Oh, so it's one of those, she's all ready to go and she just needs to be released. I hate that. That's a pain, but good that she's coming home today. Geek Flag with Nate Knows says, like, share, subscribe, comment, become a member, and if you were going to give a super chat of $5 or more, why not gift a membership instead and make our family grow? Yes, please do that. I would greatly appreciate it. One of the things that the feedback that I get on social media so much about the channel, and I even hear sometimes other YouTubers talking about us and saying what a great community we have here. Now I'm inclined to give you guys all the credit on that. You guys are the community, and therefore you guys are wonderful. But a couple of YouTubers have pointed out that, if you're centering around a particular show and Netter and Boomer and I are fostering it, and kicking out the trolls and, loving up on good people like you, then I guess I could take some credit in that regard, huh? Hopefully I'll be right back. She's in a wheelchair. Okay, so you guys are like moving like now. Good. If you're listening in transit, don't worry about trying to type and give updates. Just come back later and drop a comment below and let us know she's home safe and sound. Mark says, like, share, subscribe, and become a member, or Targs will find you are a tasty snack. Yes, that is true. Of course, Targs are a tasty snack too. It's a superheroine project I write over on DeviantArt. I like DeviantArt. Not all of it, but there is good stuff there. There absolutely is. So let's get to the booze talk. That's why you guys come here, at least on a Friday. It's why you come here. Let's get to it. So Big Al pointed out the thumbnail contains that wonderful, well-known quote from It's a Wonderful Life. And I keep going back to this, and I may have to... So I'm thinking about doing a series, going back to old films, noting down what I suppose people today would call dated references. And I don't mean dated like, using language that might be considered inappropriate or insensitive today. I just mean references that would go over somebody's head today. Sadly, we do that sometimes with more recent films where someone will go and pick up a wall phone and hit the rotary dial. And Netter makes the joke, kids, that's the way phones used to work before they had push buttons, before you could walk around with your phones. Well, there are lots of things that are referenced culturally that everyone would have known about. For example, another Christmas movie, White Christmas. It's a Christmas movie. It actually has Christmas in the title. Okay, so don't even start on that one. And he's looking for his train tickets, and Bing Crosby, Danny, Bing Crosby says to him, "Did you look in your snood?" How many people know what a snood is anymore? If you're not like a cosplayer or a historical reenactor or something like that, or really into period pieces. So I think I might do that with some classic films. She's feel. Oh, she fell during physical therapy. They took her to X-ray to check her hip. Oh, damn. So maybe not going home today. That's terrible. Tote Coat. Can you talk about some real issues, or is this just another... yeah. Do I have any blue wrenches over there on the green machine? Yeah. So we just read the damn title and read the topic, and go make your own show if you want to talk about something else. My Black Friday packages just came. Okay, so a week to deliver, fine. Double Indemnity Criterion Blu-ray. Wow. And the Richard Lattimore translation of The Odyssey. That's going to be fun. Welcome, by the way, Samuel Proctor. Good to see you. You haven't experienced It's a Wonderful Life until you've seen An Honorable Life, the Klingon version, now playing in Minneapolis. Is that the same director as Christmas Carol? If so, I'll just be passing on that. Thanks, my friend. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I have tried to promote the Green Machine, but it is... You have extremes, right? Over here on YouTube, you've got ridiculous censorship, lack of support for small creators, a lot of problems. But there's a lot of features that nobody else has. The opposite extreme is the Green Machine, where you've got no controls, no oversight, nothing. It's just a barren effing wasteland. It's like frickin' Road Warrior over there. She's freaking accident prone during physical therapy. She fell on her hip. They're taking her x-ray to check and see if she hurt her hip. Well, you have to. You've got to be careful. I swear I think she's doing everything she can to stay in the hospital. Leanne is not. This is not the Holiday Inn. Yeah. Oh, that's another great movie. And that's actually a good movie for any holiday. That's where the song Happy Holidays comes from. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, Holiday Inn is also the original film to feature White Christmas. Troy, I don't understand why so many Snyder Bros are celebrating Netflix buying WB. They honestly believe they're going to revive the Snyderverse. It's funny. Tom Connors was talking about that today. Apparently, they're kind of buying the hype of the whole Middle East support thing and all the stuff. Look, I said it before. Zack Snyder's great at working social media and working his followers into a frenzy. And they believe the crap he says. And that worked for him in leveraging his Snyder cut. But that was lightning in a bottle. That happened because it couldn't have happened if it hadn't happened during lockdowns. They were struggling for content, and they were like, okay, this could be a worthwhile investment. But there isn't as much support as anyone believes. And further, I don't want to get into all the politics of it, but yeah, no, Snyder is almost certainly not a viable option for them. That's not happening. But then again, it's entirely possible that James Gunn is out too. So, yeah, we'll cover that a little bit more when I just don't feel like covering it anymore, because right now all the outlets are saturating the market, talking about it. And I'm going, this is all a moot point if the FTC comes in and says, yeah, no, antitrust, this ain't happening. No, it's not. It's put on by a bunch of CAG members, KLI, and a different company. Okay. I've kind of been on the and Odyssey and Homeric and Virgil kick after listening to an interesting musical album called Epic the Musical. Interesting. Tells the story of the Odyssey through Lin-Manuel Miranda style musical albums. Cool. There's nothing like Christmas of the good old days. I agree. And welcome, by the way, Boomer, who will be joining me for Last Call tonight as we talk about, speaking of Christmas music videos. The earliest film I am aware of that had White Christmas was Holiday Inn. Yeah, Snyder Bros will believe anything. Goodbye Looney Tunes, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, The Rotting Corpse of DC, physical media, and theaters. Lynn pretty much summed it up in one sentence, yes. It also wouldn't have happened if not for the people he wasn't affiliated with. True. Or Europe. That's true as well. I want the Justice League movie part 2 with them fighting Darkseid. You know what? Your better option might just be to go back to the comics. Or if you are a crafter of any kind, start playing around with the AI and make it yourself. You might actually even end up doing a better job than Zack Snyder. Let's see how much of the topic that I can get into. Let's get back to it. Let me get to the share screen. Come on, share screen. There we go. The long storied history of mulled wine. This article is linked in the description below. It's not a question of if you're going to drink mulled wine this holiday season. It's a question of whose mulled wine you will drink. Warm mulled wine has become a winter standard, as much a part of the collective culture in snowy locales as gift-giving fireplaces and bearskin rugs. Well, at least the gift-giving. Okay. Yeah, that's funny. Mulled wine, that ever-variable mix of cheap wine, cloves, cinnamon, and citrus, is so prevalent simply because the concept has been around since less than great wine has been around, so forever. Here's the story of how mulled wine once again made it into your hands this year. Probably. Well, certainly. Real quick, I'm going to say hi to Corey of Wilkie's Movies and Music. I'll be chauffeuring you over to his channel as soon as we wrap up over here. I can't believe none of my schooling had any of the classics like the Iliad and the Odyssey and the Aeneid. What a farce. Well, you are younger than I am. All of that was standard for me. Speaking of which, the ancient Greeks. weren't really the type of people to leave extra wine on the table, but there was also a part of the harvest that didn't make it. In order to prevent waste and to make sure as much alcohol as possible was palatable, geeky geezers, the Greeks would dump spices into the wine and heat it up. One story is that the Greeks called their spiced wine Hippocras, which is named after the father of medicine himself, Hippocrates. As the blog Historic Food notes, though, Hippocrates' name was likely added after the fact by people who didn't know the man. Always the Greek copycat, the Romans heated their extra wine with spices to save any from being wasted. But the Romans added a twist and called their wine Conditum Paradoxum. And a version of this recipe is still sold today. A 5th and 6th century Roman cookbook by a guy named Apicius details out the recipe. Mead Crafter writes, so there's a link for you right there if you want to check it out. The recipe was a mixture of 1 part wine and 1 part honey that was boiled and then reduced. Added to the mix was pepper, bay leaf, saffron, and dates. And by the way, for Netter's benefit, this probably was not the black pepper that we know, but the long pepper that was common back then. Mulled wine really took off in the Middle Ages. The added spices were believed to make people healthier and had the benefit of tasting much better as well. The selection of wine wasn't so great back then, after all, and it's not like people could drink the water. It's not entirely true. That's an oversimplification. Not to mention people had to deal with the Black Death, so they suddenly needed a drink anyway. Merriam-Webster determined that the first use of the word mull as a verb meaning to heat, sweeten, and flavor as wine or cider with spices was in 1618, which was late medieval prime time. The idea, however, was already there. From the Good Housewife's Jewel by British author Thomas Dawson in 1596. Take a gallon of white wine, sugar 2 pounds, of cinnamon, ginger, long pepper. See, I told you, long pepper. Mace, not bruised, galangal, and cloves, not bruised. You must bruise every kind of spice a little and put them in an earthen pot all day, and then cast them through your bags 2 times or more as you see cause, and so drink it. Now, if Max Miller were here, he would translate that. I'm going to do my best. I am going to guess that the term bruised has to do with whether or not you've muddled it, So they're saying it shouldn't be pre-muddled, So, your ginger and cinnamon should not be shaken. It should be, the actual full, and then you mash it up yourself. And when it says cast them through your bags, obviously straining at least twice, probably using a cheesecloth or something like that. The common perception of mulled wine today comes from Victorian England. Despite the prudish outlook on life, mulled wine was a fine and dandy holiday season drink in moderation. At least that was the Victorian ideal. People have a tendency to read Victorian literature and assume that it was an actual representation of life in Victorian England. Nope. No more so than any other ideals. People are real quick to look at their Christian friends and say, well, they have their ideals, but they don't live that way. Well, guess what? That's the way ideals work. You have your idea of how you should be living, and then there is the reality of how you actually live. And very rarely do the two actually cross over. Charles Dickens even wrote about a version of mulled wine called Smoking Bishop in his 1843 novel A Christmas Carol. Henceforth, mulled wine's association with the holidays was solidified. I don't think people realize how much of our perception of Christmas and how to celebrate the holidays really comes from Dickens. And what's very interesting is the whole story of A Christmas Carol was meant to be a plea to not forget the Christmas of old. He was looking back to the late medieval ages Christmas and how it was celebrated. And he was trying to get people nostalgic for that and remind them how Christmas should be, because it had started to kind of become less and less important. But interestingly enough, he paints a modern picture, modern for him, Victorian era, of Christmas that we now look to with nostalgia and try to replicate. So it's just a little bit of irony. Most modern day versions have orange, cinnamon, nutmeg, a cheap dry red wine, and a bit of port or brandy. Everything is to taste. Here are your 8 favorite recipes. You can check those out if you so choose. And the only right way to drink it is to drink it when the temperature starts to drop. I agree. Drink your mulled wine as you like. I happen to let's see if you can see this. Now, you know what? I'd have to probably go large if I was to do this. You could probably see I have cranberries floating in mine. But I don't usually heat it warm enough for those berries to burst. I'm wondering if maybe with my next glass, I should just put the berries and a small spattering of wine at the bottom, heat it warm enough to burst those berries, and then fill it up and, heat it to a manageable temperature. I think that's what I might do. Today, I am finishing off the glog from last week. Well, you know what? I'll get into what I'm specifically drinking tonight right after we hit those promos so that we can get these things moving along. Be right back in just under 3 minutes.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together.
This week on Saturday Night at the Movies, a snobbish Wall Street commodities broker and a wily street hustler find their positions reversed as part of a bet by 2 callous millionaire brothers who run a brokerage house. Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, and Jamie Lee Curtis star in the 1983 capitalist Christmas classic Trading Places. Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Big Al Presents Films with Friends.
In a world where nearly all the entertainment is remakes, reboots, and rehashes of older properties, maybe it's worth it to get some commentary from people who experienced it all when it was novel and fresh. Catch Boomer and Pacelli on Geeky Geezers every Sunday night at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
Every Monday night is Members Night at the Movies on Last Call. Members enjoy an exclusive watch party just for them, and you can join too for as little as $1.99 a month. This week, there is a poll posted on the community tab for members to choose between 4 sort of Christmas movies: The Hand, P2, Rabid, and Wild Card. Go now and select your choice. And if you're not a member, please consider it. It really helps support what we do here at Last Call. Thanks.
This week, on Last Call presents The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, Colonel Barclay is found dead, and his wife is arrested for the murder, but Holmes is convinced a missing door key will reveal the true killer. Can Sherlock Holmes find the Crooked Man? We'll find out. Tuesday on Last Call presents The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
Oh, you sweet summer child. Ejecta Curtain says, I'm nursing a mean hangover. This is brutal. I feel for you, man, but you're doing it wrong. You are doing it wrong. First, remember, when you drink responsibly, and part of drinking responsibly is trading off one alcoholic drink to one bottle of water or straight juice, no alcohol. Stay hydrated. It is the dehydration that shrinks the meninges in your head and causes that throbbing headache. They are like the old desiccated sink sponge. And then when you plunge it into water, it fills up real nice. That's what you need to do. You need to flood your meninges with water. So you want to get rid of that headache. If you are not on blood thinners, which you got to measure out, thinning your blood with alcohol, take 2 aspirin and a lot of water. And if your stomach is still queasy, sip the water. But get that water in you. Get the water in you, and that headache will dissipate. It absolutely will. And I would encourage you, even when the headache goes away, continue to chug that water for the rest of the day, because we got drinking to do tonight. The ball, you're using your thumbnail. That ball, you using your thumbnail, I sent that $9.99 at my store. Ball. Is there a typo here that I'm missing, Nate? I'm usually pretty good. Dickens saw the industrial age coming and how greed was corrupting men. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. That's just how you roll. I understand, but if you add that water and hydration in, you will enjoy how you roll so much more. So says Dr. Pacelli, take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning. That's right. That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. And I am not recommending acetaminophen or ibuprofen. It should be aspirin, unless the doctor has specifically told you not to take aspirin because of a bleeding ulcer or because you are on blood thinners. But again, as I said, if you're on blood thinners, you should be very careful with your drinking anyway. Do so at your own risk, my friend. Like I said, the solution to an overinflated tire is not to continue adding more air to it. Just saying. Anyway, let's get to it. So what am I drinking? Well, after I finish the glog from last week, which I probably will do sooner than later, I will be drinking this. This is not a sponsored stream by any means. This is just something that I saw at Binny's and picked up and thought I would give a try. This is St. Christopher's Glühwein. Glühwein. It's German or Dutch as you see fit. I'm not sure which accent I just hit on. It's supposed to be bottled. Oh, yes. So Nate was saying that he his place of employment sells Glühwein for $10 a bottle. That's probably about what I paid for it. Yeah, it's not expensive. It's very inexpensive. See? He knows what he's talking about. To prevent a hangover, drink a glass of water before you start drinking alcohol. And when you're done drinking alcohol for the night, drink one more glass of water before going to bed. I would encourage you to intersperse some water in between those drinks, but yes, that's exactly right. So let's get back to this Glühwein, which translates as glow wine. It should make you glow, I suppose. Let's get to it. So this comes directly from the St. Christopher Glühwein webpage. Talking a little bit about the brand, it was founded in 1992, so it's not that old. St. Christopher Glühwein is a distinguished brand dedicated to producing and bottling traditional German mulled wine, known as Glühwein, from the picturesque Rheinhessen region of Germany. The brand was born out of a collaboration between two passionate wine enthusiasts, Manfred Bauer and Gunther Schlink, who shared a vision of showcasing the finest wines in Germany has to offer under one unified label. The name St. Christopher is inspired by the Catholic saint revered as the guardian of travelers. This symbolism resonates deeply with our mission. By the way, I should mention from personal history, growing up Italian Catholic or Italian American Catholic, St. Christopher is also seen as one of the patron saints of Italians. Probably expats, because he is patron saint of travelers. This symbolism resonates deeply with our mission to create wines that accompany people on their journeys, whether they are exploring new cultures, celebrating special moments, or simply enjoying a cozy evening at home. Just as St. Christopher is believed to protect those on their travels, our wines aim to enhance every experience and connection. In today's global landscape, wines serve as an international conversation starter that connects individuals across cultures and histories. At St. Christopher's Glühwein, we strive to bridge these connections through our carefully crafted products that celebrate not only German winemaking traditions, but also the joy of sharing experiences over a glass of mulled wine. Gosh, look at that. Look at that. The slices of orange suspended in the wine, the star anise, the cloves. This is one of those pictures that you could just almost smell. You know, it's amazing. So the history. The Glühwein, which translates to glow wine, see, I said, has a rich history that dates back several centuries, particularly in Germany and other German-speaking regions. The origins of this warm, spiced wine can be traced back to ancient Rome. We talked about this a little bit, where the practice of heating and spicing wines was first documented. Roman troops were known to consume warm, spiced wine as early as the 1st century AD, spreading this tradition throughout the territories they conquered. The first recorded instance of what we now recognize as Glühwein specifically appears in Germany around 1420. This is evidenced by a gold-plated tankard belonging to Count John IV of, wow, this is going to be a dive for me, Katzenelnborgen, a German nobleman who was also the first grower of Riesling grapes. This tankard is specifically not only is significant not only for its historical value, but also for its association with the consumption of sweet and spicy wines during festive occasions. Throughout the years, Glühwein evolved into a staple beverage during the winter months and especially around Christmas time. It's become popular at German Christmas markets, where it is traditionally served in festive mugs. The drink typically consists of red wine infused with various spices such as cinnamon, cloves, star anise, and citric fruits like oranges or lemons. Sugar is often added to enhance its sweetness. In Germany, Glühwein is sometimes enjoyed mit Schuss, meaning it is served with a shot of liquor such as rum or amaretto. Something to take into account tonight. I do have some amaretto. This variation adds an extra layer of warmth and flavor to the drink. The preparation methods have remained relatively consistent over time. However, modern recipes may include additional spices or variations, using white wine instead of red. The cultural significance of Glühwein extends beyond mere consumption. It represents social gathering during cold winter nights. People often enjoy Glühwein while strolling through Christmas markets or gathering with friends or family at home during the holiday season. As time progressed into the 20th century, particularly after World War II, Glühwein gained further popularity across Europe and beyond. Each region has developed its own variations, such as Führersengebowl in Germany, which involves setting a rum-soaked sugar loaf on fire above the wine before serving, demonstrating how this traditional drink has adapted while maintaining its core essence. Today, Glühwein remains an integral part of German holiday culture and continues to be enjoyed by many, both within Germany and internationally during the festive seasons. I'm not going to apologize for my butchering of words that I don't know how to pronounce. Deal with it. Sorry, not sorry. Woo, beautiful. Then it goes on to talk about the region, the Rhine River. We know, Germany. Beautiful country, beautiful country. Let's get back to what you guys are talking about here. Get back to the main stage. Oh, thank you so much for stopping in. Joe's Atmosphere. Drive by, like, and share before your show. Midday Wino. Yes, exactly. I have my pun for tonight. Do you know what an acorn is? It's a nutshell. In a nutshell, it's an oak tree. I like that. I like that. I will not apologize. It is a sign of weakness. I do not apologize for my ignorance. I admit that I don't know it, and I will endeavor to learn how to pronounce these words better going forward, but I am not going to apologize as though I've done something wrong. And any German speakers who would like to help coach me, I would totally be open to that and appreciative. But there we have it. So tonight, a little primer for tonight. Specifically, we are talking about Christmas music videos. So I want to be very clear about that. I may have been a little more rigid on this than Boomer had intended me to be, but I think he followed the same convention that I did when he suggested the topic of Christmas music videos. We have a certain idea in our mind what a music video is, right? It's a production that was created specifically during a certain time period to promote the songs that came out during that period. So we're looking at the late 70s to early 90s. They still, I think, make music videos, I assume. But we're looking like at the VH1 MTV era. So are there songs that existed before them that have been made into music videos? Sure, but that's kind of like cheating, right? I was saying yesterday that there are channels out there that have the so-called official music videos for a lot of 40s, 50s, and 60s songs, but they're like with animation and the lyrics coming up. It's not like it's something that was specifically filmed for the video, featuring the artists or anything like that. Not even just like concert footage of the song being done. It's, that's not what we were looking at. We were looking at these songs that were very contemporary, that came out at that period in time, and kind of set a feel of like new tradition, right? So I'm also bypassing the songs that came from Christmas specials like Rudolph the Red-Nosed. Well, of course, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman didn't come from those Rankin and Bass specials. That is in the zeitgeist of late 60s, early 70s children that grew up with those songs. But of course, these songs were sung on the radio before they were turned into musicals. And I'm sure those musical numbers were clipped and made into videos. That's also not what we're talking about. Speaking of those Rankin and Bass specials, I was watching a video the other day. Someone was talking about Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And the edits of it that have happened over the years. Whether because, well, a lot of them were networks deciding they wanted to get more commercials in, so they would cut out whole musical numbers. And in Canada, they cut out one foot in front of the other to add more commercials. And that was not well received at all. Not at all. Anyway. Favorite Christmas song is very weird, but one you probably never heard of. Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses. There was an album that came out in like the late 70s, early 80s. Must have been in the 80s. Actually, it was a series of albums. And I can't quite remember the name of it. It was contemporary Christmas songs by contemporary artists. The proceeds were all going to charity. So songs like, even though the song predates it, a version of Bruce Springsteen's Santa Claus is Coming to Town was on it. Madonna's version of Santa Baby. I believe Run DMC's Christmas in Hollis was on it as well. And I'm sure some of those songs got videos. So I'm certain that some of those songs would probably qualify for what we're kind of talking about tonight. For Santa Claus is Coming to Town, I remember them cutting or trimming Jessica's song. Yes, that was also mentioned as happening. Maybe not a very popular take, but I was never keen on that song myself as a kid. I found it to be a boring number. That kind of put me to sleep. As an adult with my own physical media, I tend to skip over that song. That's just me. I don't know if the younger generation truly know how important these songs are. We'll talk about that tonight for sure. Absolutely. Another edit that happened to... there was a couple of edits that happened to Santa Claus is Coming to Town. More for content than it was for time. They removed at various times. They removed the burning of the bonfire of the toys because it was thought to be too emotional for children. There was a time, in the 70s. It seems to have started in the 70s, where we started to mollycoddle our children, and we couldn't allow them to be scared or concerned or anything. Everything had to be happy, peppy, peppy. We see the results of that as those kids have become adults, I'm afraid. They also edited out the line about Chris and Jessica standing under the stars and making their pledge to each other before God, because no church would have them. That was considered to be a religious and political statement at the time that wasn't well received by some. Trying to think. Oh, there's a segment where the Burgermeister Meisterburger is talking about how he leaps from building to building and he slides like a seal and he, da 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 da. They edit that out because they were afraid that kids would try to mimic the stunts that they see this animated puppet doing. Kind of the same as there was this big concern about kids leaping off of roofs with towels wrapped around their necks as capes. I mean, just whatever. It's like, you know what? Let Darwin's work be done. Kids will learn real fast. Yeah, burning the toys is just like book burning. Still lessons that need to be learned, I believe. The Abominable Snowman and Rudolph gave me nightmares. Yeah. But what a great redemption arc, right? This is a humble bumble. The channel There I Ruined It did Creed singing Rudolph last Friday. I still have it in my head. I can't even imagine. Oh, no. Somebody, was it you that shared that with me, Lynn? Somebody sent me a link to that, and I checked it out, and I was like, this is just wrong. I like Creed. I like Rudolph, but I also like mustard, right? And I like chocolate ice cream. I don't put the two together. The song begins with Bah Humbug, but that's too strong because it's my favorite holiday. The same group that sang the theme song for the TV show Square Pegs. I vaguely remember Square Pegs. Yeah, like sliding down a chimney. Remember that bit from the retelling of the urban legend in Gremlins, or making reindeer fly? When I was a kid, okay, this is how much of a last call kind of guy I have been all my life. When I was an 8-year-old kid watching this, and he has the magic feed corn that makes reindeer fly, I assumed that it had something to do with, fermented corn. Makes them fly because they get drunk. That's honest to goodness what I thought that was about. Yeah. Any booze references did not go over this boy's head. As a kid, I thought the Burgermeister was a yes. You were dead on with that. There have been analyses about exactly how you can tell the authoritarianism of him, the treatment of toys as if they were a certain group of people, the burning, the ill-fitting lederhosen that made him look foolish. If you know, you know. Yeah. And it's not usually as terrible as people think. The most that usually happens is they break a leg and then they learn. Duh. Then one foggy Christmas, Santa came to say, "Can you take me higher to a place where snowmen sing?" I love it. I love it. My oldest brother, when he was a kid, jumped off the roof with my mother's tablecloth tied around his neck. He's lucky it didn't get hung up on something. I told you the other day, 1979, I walked up a snowbank onto the roof of the garage. Went to jump off the other side because I assumed that I could just jump and I would not fall very far because I was in snow. But that snow is not necessarily strongly compact where it is loosely blown. And I fell straight through the snow into a garbage can. Luckily. Perfect. Right into the garbage can. I mean, this is the kind of thing that if you saw it in a movie, you would say, how many takes did that take? You know? The grace of God is the only thing I can say. Look, I've run over, and that is a horrible, horrible sin for me on a Friday because I have got to chauffeur you over to Wilkie's Movies and Music for his Friday stream. But I still have to say hello to PJ of Orville Nation. Welcome, my friend. Hashtag Together We Grow. Thank you so much for stopping in. I remember that winter it took several days to clear the driveway so we could get out. There is a photograph of my grandmother standing in our driveway with the bank of snow behind her. She's a third as tall as the snow is high. It is funny. Of course, we picked on her about being short anyway, my friends, thank you so much. I do hope you will join us tonight for Last Call so that you can see which videos Boomer and I have chosen. Very honorable mention paid for by JoesAtmosfere yesterday. We'll be featuring as well. And again, I want to thank you guys so much for making this year possible. You really have done it. I super, super appreciate all of you. Let's get over to Wilkie's Movies and Music. Say hi to him for me, and I will see you later tonight. Salute, my friends.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high